I have begun the next long-term goal for my UIM account, and you're along for the ride. In the last video, I started my new goal of getting to the Master tier for the combat achievements, and I made some great progress. I completed all the CAs at Speediest, Oberon Bryophyta, Skatizo, Amoxoyotl, Sarachnis, Barrows, Zora, the Quest boss rematches, Krill Sujaroth, the Dagonoth Kings, and Duke Succulus. And that's just the start of the story for my account. I have to get 636 more combat achievement points across all the bosses left in the game, and according to my spreadsheet of tasks that I want to do, I have 677 points available from those tasks, so things are looking pretty good. I think the first boss I'm going to visit is Hespori, and I apologize in advance because I know I'm going to be bouncing around bosses a bit here. Hespori is pretty unique in that once you kill it, you have to wait for your Hespori seed to grow before you can fight it again. So in between videos, I got one Hespori seed, and that means I'm going to be able to get one of the CAs for Hespori right now, and I'll have to come back later. Okay, this is plant-based diet for not losing any prayer points, and the easiest way to do that is just to not pray, which is really easy to do in max gear like this. So in this video, I want to have a bit of a theme here. I want to take out all the CAs for the Slayer bosses and other adjacent bosses. There's one Slayer boss that I only have one more CA for, which is the Alchemical Hydra, and the CA is a pretty iconic one. No pressure, which I'll explain in a bit. For this one, you need to use the Darroch's Axe, and it's made a lot easier if you have the full set, and thankfully I have the full set stored right here in the stash unit by the Barrows chest. The Bane of hardcore Ironman, no pressure. This CA requires you to kill the Alchemical Hydra while camping less than 10 HP for the whole fight and using a Darroch's Axe, and the implication is that you'll also be using the full set, which gives you that buff for being at low HP. All the damage at this boss is avoidable with the exception of the very first attack, since the boss can either attack with range or mage, and if you are praying the wrong one, you can take a hit that deals more than 10 damage. So what I was trying to do in these clips was teleport out if the attack was the one I wasn't praying against and stay in the fight otherwise. Eventually, I did just decide to just tick eat the first attack with a Trout, which heals less than 10, which ended up being a lot easier than trying to make that snap decision for whether to teleport or not. And there we go, no pressure complete. That was a fun one. Here's a boss that I technically don't have to do on task, but it definitely makes things a lot easier, the Fight Caves. I was going for the Speedrun achievements here, but I didn't quite get it done fast enough for the Grandmaster time, which is sub 26:30. I ended up only getting the Master time, which only requires a sub 30-minute run, so I will have to come back later for the GM time along with the other CAs here. Okay, this one is gonna require a bit of an explanation. The CA I'm going for here is Prayer Smasher, which requires you to kill the Kalphite Queen using a Varix Flail. There's one small problem though. I don't have one of those and I don't want to get one, but thankfully there is an easier way, and it involves one of the most obscure weapons in the game. This strategy revolves around using Thralls, since they don't fail the combat achievement, and you can just let the Thralls very slowly whittle down the boss's health bar until you have a kill, because you don't deal any damage yourself with something that's not the Varix Flail. But you still need a way to make the Thrall aggro onto the boss. So, in order to do that, you have to attack the boss and guarantee that the attack will miss so you don't deal damage. And the easiest way to do that is to use the Cursed Goblin Hammer, which is a quote-unquote fun weapon that you can buy from Diango and Draenor Village. Fun weapons are unique in that they have ridiculous accuracy penalties to the extent where it's nearly impossible to hit with them. So, to get this achievement easily without the Varix Flail, you can just do sort of the flinching strat that you would maybe try and do as a low-level Ironman or something, using the Cursed Goblin Hammer, and you will never hit with the hammer, and the Thrall will eventually deal enough damage to kill the boss, getting the CA. Okay, we are headed back to Hespori to clear out the rest of the combat achievements. I need to get the 2 speedrun CAs here, the more difficult of which requires a 36-second kill, which is extremely tight. You basically have to be attacking perfectly on cooldown and utilizing all the special attacks you can, and you have to roll high for damage. Okay, wasted a couple ticks there, but that's fine. Yeah, of course, this will be the one that phases it, yep. So this will be tight. Oh, and I'm hitting big. Oh boy. Hey, can I hit a 50? I think that's it. I got it. Hespori Speed Chaser, let's go. Oh, and that was with Mystics too, and I made it by 3 seconds. That is so good to have done. Probably the Slayer boss with the most CAs I need is Araxxor, and I'm actually really excited here because I finally get to go back to this boss with a scythe, which is the best way to kill it. If you remember from a few videos ago when I first started killing Araxxor for the first time, I had to use my twisted bow because I just did not have a good enough melee weapon for this boss. For reference, a twisted bow is about as good as an abyssal bludgeon here, but the Scythe of Bitter is way better. The first CA I'm going for will easily be the most difficult, which is the GM speedrun task, and that requires you to kill Araxxor 6 times in 10 minutes, which is about a 130 average if you factor in the death animation and respawn times. But honestly, that's not even the challenge in this CA for me. It's the fact that I'm gonna need to get a 6 kill trip in the first place with not a lot of inventory space for supplies. So not only do I have to do some advanced strats here to keep my DPS up, like using spellbook swap to keep my thralls and death charge up while still using the cure me spell on the lunar spellbook, I also need to play nearly perfectly to minimize the damage I take so I can survive for a full 6 kills. It'll definitely be a lot easier if I can get a supply drop somewhere in the trip, so hopefully I can get lucky with one of those. Oh my god, that was 6? And I got the supply drop, oh my god! I didn't even realize that was 6. Wow. Okay, so the rest of these aren't going to be nearly as difficult as that. Here is Relaxor, which requires you to destroy 6 of the eggs around the room to prevent the ads from spawning, and then kill the boss. It's a bit of a weird one since it basically makes your kill way less efficient, but there we go, combat achieved. Here is Araxxite Betrayal, which is for having one of the red spider ads blow up and kill 3 other ads. The easiest way to do that is to kill the first red ad in the rotation and then keep all the other ads around until the second red ad spawns and then use that one. And finally, Swimming in Venom for getting a kill without the boss ever moving. You kinda have to handle all the ads differently for this. For the red ones, you just dodge them as normal. For the white ones, you just wait until it gets into melee range and you kill it like normal. And for the green ones, you just sorta have to either tank the damage or prayer switch between melee and range to block the damage from both the boss and the ad. Araxxor CA is complete. Alright, we are back to the fight caves to try this GM speedrun again, and this time I remembered to use thralls. Cool. 24:43, almost 2 full minutes to spare. Nice. Okay, now that I have the speedrun CA done, I can actually just do the rest of the CAs for the fight caves now, since they don't really require a task like the speedrun does. The one I'm going for is Denying the Healers 2, which requires you to kill Jad without him being healed by any of the healers. And as it turns out, there's a decently easy way to guarantee this, which is to manipulate the positioning of the boss to get him right here on the northeast side of the arena up against the wall, and you stand right here just south of his southwest tile in melee range. So you do have to do the prayer switches for a melee Jad, which is a bit trickier than killing him at a distance, but it's still not that hard. And the benefit of doing it like this is that you end up body blocking all the healers perfectly so they can't even reach the boss to heal him. And I ended up getting the kill before the healers made it to me anyway. This is another tricky one. You didn't say anything about a bat, which is for doing the entire fight caves run without ever being attacked by one of the bat enemies. So basically just a matter of properly kiting and safe spotting. And finally, the victory lap. Facing Jad head on, which is for doing an entire run only using melee. And even though there's one more CA left in the fight caves, which is the one for not losing any prayer points, I'm just gonna ignore that one and not do it for this master CA grind. It's just gonna be way too much of a pain, so for all intents and purposes, I am done with the fight caves. The final boss that's going to require a Slayer boss for me to get the CAs for it is the Shellbane Gryphon, and it's actually one that I've never really done properly. I've only gotten a couple kills for the Elite Clue step, since that step lets you kill the boss off task to complete it. This boss has a unique mechanic where you want to have an equipped weight of over 40 kilograms, which is honestly quite a lot. I'm using this turtle shell item for the cape slot, which definitely helps since it weighs 10 kilograms by itself, and it also negates one of the boss's other mechanics, making it soft required here. But that's not quite enough to reach the 40 kilogram mark, so I'm going to do a very silly trick here. You can disassemble the Slayer helm and ditch everything but the black mask, and doing that increases the weight by almost 8 kilograms. Physics, what are those? So here's how the boss fight works. The boss usually uses melee, so you pray against that, and occasionally you'll have to take a ranged hit, and you just gotta deal with that. Occasionally the boss will use one of 3 special attacks. For the first one, it'll spawn some whirlwinds on you, so you have to move to a different tile each time. The second one is an orange blob attack that you have to dodge, and if you get hit by it, you will take damage over time, which you can cancel by de-equipping all your armor and putting it back on. And finally, the knockback attack. Normally, it's just a big attack with a max max hit of 30 that knocks you back, but if your equipped weight is over 40 kilograms, the boss will get temporarily stunned when it tries to do that attack, and you have to click it again to successfully negate it and do a counterattack. And that's pretty much it. The boss is extremely easy in good gear like this. Okay, so on the first kill, that is the perfect kill CA. Shellbane Speedrunner, that's for getting 10 kills in 12.5 minutes. Dry Cleaning for intentionally getting hit by the orange blob and then de-equipping everything to stop the DOT. Shellbane Adept for 25 KC. Shellbane Survivor for getting a 25 kill trip. And this will be the last two CAs here. Shellbane Veteran for 50 KC and Featherweight Fighter for getting a 5 kill trip while intentionally not meeting the weight requirement to avoid the knockback attack. Shellbane Gryphon CAs are done. Alright, there's one more boss I wanted to get done in the realm of Slayer and Slayer accessories, and that is Vorkath. This is probably going to be the hardest set of combat achievements yet. There are some real notorious ones in here. Here's the loadout for the first CA, which is Zombie Destroyer, which is for killing the zombified spawn without using Crumble Undead. I'm going to be using the Bofa, and to make sure that it does enough damage, I'm going to get a blowpipe hit in as well. There we go, pretty easy elite task. So next up here is the Walk, which requires you to hit 12 times during the acid special without taking damage, which basically just means Wook's Walk with a blowpipe, or alternatively use claws to hit a bunch of times with melee, but there we go, easy master task. Faithless Encounter, that's for killing the boss without losing prayer points, which for me basically means without using prayer. You can lazy flick Piety if you want, and that can help as well. Vorkath Speed Chaser, that's the master time, and I managed to get this time exactly at 1:15. This next one is going to be a doozy though. So let's talk about Vorkath Speedrunner, the GM time, which is 54 seconds flat. The CA says you need to get less than 54 seconds, but you actually still achieve it if you manage to get 54.0 exactly. This speedrun is rough. In order to get this time, I have found that I basically need to hit a high-hitting Dragon Warhammer spec, and then a high-hitting Bandos Godsword spec, and then from that point on, I have to pretty much hit every attack and roll high for damage the entire time. This is a lot of resets, like hundreds of resets. Everything has to go perfectly for this CA to work. Oh my god, is that it? Did I just get it? 54.6! No! No! That's 2 ticks away. This is a pretty good attempt. 3, 4. I need to like kill it in the next couple. 5. This might be it. I think I have it. I think that was it. Oh my god. No way! No way! No! No, 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 no. That did not just happen. No. No, 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 no. No.
This sucks so bad.
Okay, well, while I was trying to get that CA, I got the one for 100 KC, Vorkath Master. Okay, so I actually just got some very important information that could potentially blow the CA wide open. Apparently, the Scythe the Bitter has a significantly higher variance in its damage compared to the Lance, and that is really important for a speedrun because that makes it a lot more likely that any given attempt could have a lot higher DPS than the expected amount. So, let's see if the Scythe can be the key to everything here. Oh god. Okay, this is really ugly, but we're good. 3, I think. 4. 5. 6. Alright. Alright, this is pretty good so far. 1, 2, we're looking good. Really good. 3. Please. 4. 5. This is it. I think that's it. That has to be it, right? Yes! Yes, I got it! Oh my god, I got it. We're done. Okay, after that CA, I feel like I need a break from Vorkath, right? And I know just the thing that'll work. I'm gonna try out the Royal Titans for the first time. I have never fought these bosses before, and a major reason for that is that they are designed as a duo boss fight, similar to Yama. And especially with the CAs, I wanted to hold off until I had a duo partner that could help me out with that. Enter the duo partner. This is Sapphic UIM, also known as Lauren with hella ease, also known as Lauren, and we're going to be taking out all of these CAs in one go. The Royal Titans are a surprisingly simple boss fight. You pray melee, and that completely negates their basic attack, so you only have to deal with special attacks. You normally attack them with melee, but they occasionally move away from melee range, so you have to switch to range to hit them. And they have this unique mechanic where their range defense goes up when they're in melee range and down otherwise, so you can't just camp range for the whole fight. They have two special attacks, Fire and Ice Walls, which you have to use either a fire spell or a water spell to get rid of, and Fire and Ice Elementals, which work the same way. Now, you may notice from this footage that I don't have any magic gear, and I am completely ignoring both of these special attacks, and that's because my duo partner is actually handling all of that. Now, before you start getting uppity about me getting quote-unquote boosted for this, there's a good reason for this. Sapphic UIM is a Snowflake account that is not allowed to use melee, and because of that range defense scaling I mentioned earlier, that means she's basically unable to contribute for a good portion of the fight. So she's relying on her duo partner, that's me, to deal most of the damage, while she takes that downtime to handle the special attacks for us both. Yes, it's kind of still boosting, but don't worry about it. Oh, and this is not a rare occurrence for her, by the way. She has done a ton of Royal Titans. She is literally rank 10 for UIMs on this boss. Oh, and there's one more mechanic here. Once one of the Titans gets low, it will start phase 2, where they set up on opposite sides of the arena and start doing AoE attacks. There's one tile that's marked with the little yin-yang symbol, and you have to stand on that to dodge that AoE damage, and that's pretty much the entire fight. So let's get those CAs done. Cool, perfect Royal Titans on the first kill. I Need Rune, that's for actively clearing all the fire and ice walls instead of letting them despawn. Lauren basically solved that one entirely on her own. Elemental Company, that's for not attacking the adds. Let Them Fight, that's for using a specific mechanic where the boss's AoE attacks can kill the adds if the attack is of the opposite element. You have to kill 10 elementals using the AoE damage like that. No Time to Pray, that's for not losing any prayer points. Oh, hey, Desiccated Pages, that's my first unique. None of the uniques here are particularly useful, but it's nice for the collection log. 1 by 1 for completely focusing one Titan until it's dead, and then starting on the other one. That's also Royal Titan Champion for 10 KC. It takes too long for killing them both during the same AoE attack in phase 2, so you only have a few seconds leeway to do it. Ooh, the Mystic Vigor Scroll. That is actually a permanent unlock for the account. It unlocks the Mystic Vigor Prayer, which is a mid-tier offensive magic prayer. Oh my god, that's the Ice Crown. That is one of the 2 rarer uniques that you use to make the Twin Flame Staff. Still useless on this account, but it's pretty cool to see. Royal Titan Adept for 25 KC, and Titan Killer for getting a 15 kill trip. And for this last one, Lauren decided to hop onto her main account to trivialize it. This is Royal Titan Speedrunner for a sub 130 kill. That's all the CAs for Royal Titans, actually for both of us. Yeah, Lauren did not have Titan Killer or No Time to Pray, surprisingly, so we have both completed this boss for CAs now. Okay, so now that that diversion is done, let's clean up the rest of the Vorkath CAs. I am loading up the inventory with brews and restores for these since they all require me to really maximize my supplies. Please. Please, yes! Yes, that's it. Oh my god. Extended encounter, 10 kill trip. You do not know how hard that was. I literally had to sit around for like half an hour to let my HP regen before that last kill. Okay, and this one is Dodging the Dragon for getting a 5 kill trip while not taking damage from special attacks. The acid attack is really the only difficult part of that. Okay, this last one is easily the most iconic, the Fremenic Way for getting a kill barehanded. This basically amounts to surviving for a very long time because your DPS is going to be awful. It's also pretty tricky to deal with stuff like Venom since I was using the Noxious Halberd to clear that earlier, but I can't do that here because equipping that weapon invalidates the achievement. I'm solving that by staying on the Lunar Spellbook for the Cure Me spell, and Spellbook swapping to Normals for Crumble Undead for the Undead Spawn special. It is the MK. I am in Distress. I did it. I fucking did it. There it is. The Fremenic way. Fuck you, Vorkath. Vorkath CAs are done. All of them. Green. Boss list. Vorkath 11 out of 11 green. Fuck you, Blue Dragon. Alright, that was pretty much the end of all the CAs that were for Slayer bosses and Slayer adjacent bosses, and I think it's time to end this video with some of the most free CAs in the game, and that is Nex. Now you may be thinking, wait, isn't Nex a hard boss? Wouldn't all those CAs be really difficult? And yes, there are a couple CAs that require you to kill the boss in a duo and a trio, but I'm not going to be doing those for this Master CA grind. All the other ones can be done in a mass kill, and it's actually really easy to do that since the boss dies so fast that it's hard for anyone to mess up the mechanics. So fun fact for when you're getting KC to enter the boss room, you want to be killing the Blood Reavers and not the mages, since the Reavers have a special effect where you heal for 50% of the damage you deal to them, so you can easily just sustain your health from that the whole time. They also count for 3 KC instead of 1, which is nice. Also, I think this is the first time I'm using the second ammo slot on the quiver for something other than a second ammo stack. I'm using it for the Ancient Blessing for God Protection. Okay, so I'm not really going to go over the mechanics of the fight here since it's so condensed in a mass kill. You basically don't need to think about anything at all, and the boss dies in less than a minute. Okay, so there's a lot of CAs right off the bat. There's the one for getting a single kill and a bunch for doing certain mechanics correctly. I think I missed the one for not attacking the Blood Reavers, so I also didn't get the perfect kill on this one, but that's fine. I have a lot of opportunities to do that later. Oh, hey, collection log. That is a Nihil shard. It's the thing you use to make Ancient Brews. There we go, perfect Nex. So that is all the CAs for doing the mechanics right. There's Nex Master for 25 KC, that is the last CA for kill count. Okay, this last one is very stupid because it kind of requires you to grief the mass group a bit. You specifically need to keep the cough going throughout the whole kill. There we go, I should see a doctor, and that is the last CA that I'm going to be doing for Nex on this grind. Across all those CAs, that is 40 CA points basically for free. And that's going to be it for this video. I finished 9 bosses in this one, which I am really happy about, and I would love to immediately jump into the next set of bosses, but there's something actually happening that needs my attention first. Very soon, the new Blood Moon Rises quest is going to get added to the game, and that's going to come with a whole new batch of post-quest content, including some gear upgrades, and I'm going to want to check that out. And in the next video, I'm going to be doing just that, and I'll see you then.